some dinner. Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner. Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner. Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
Hey there. My name is Jamie, and I can't play guitar. Welcome to the fourth part of the broadcast for the day. This is the Daily Hangout Part 4. We're working on songs. We're doing lots of stuff. If you give me a second here, I need to take a quick selfie. Just blast off. We are going live on YouTube and Twitch, so join us on either platform. We'll put links wherever they go. Yeah, just join us there. We're gonna hang out, watch some stuff, play lots of guitar. We'll see you there. All Alright, we just have to post this super quick. Today we're going to be watching a video from Philip DeFranco. It's his latest. He didn't have one yesterday, probably because of the holiday. And... oh, there's no link? Huh. Jeez. I guess we're just doing a photo. Nope. Start over. Post story. There we go. Hey everybody, we are about to go live on both YouTube and Twitch, so we'll leave links in this video, hopefully, and then just join us there, or go to our bio, or just go to those platforms and search Seriously Can't Play Guitar or I Can't Play Guitar, and join us live. We're gonna hang out for a while. See you then. Alright, thanks for letting us do that. We are now blasted off. We're going to watch the first video, which is Philip DeFranco's video. He's talking about the tourist Titanic sub that vanished. Andrew Tate, we got a picture of Joe Rogan super confused, so let's get into it. We're going to start off just watching the video, commenting on it, along with Phil, and then we'll grab our guitar. If you're joining us, we really appreciate if you would subscribe so you can be notified anytime we go live. Sometimes the second, third, and as you can see, fourth part of the stream of the day are a little sporadic, but we almost always go live in the morning around 6 a.m. So you can count on that one daily, and then special streams. So you want to be subscribed, like this one, where we're going over more stuff. Sometimes, you know, it's just crazy. Part 6, part 7, who knows?
Today, we're talking about Andrew Tate officially being charged, the disturbing truth about the Titanic submersible that's gone missing, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and RFK Jr. are dogpiling on a vaccine scientist, Fox News, of all places, just destroyed Donald Trump, and so much more on your brand new Philip DeFranco show, your daily dive into the news. So let's just jump into it. Starting with, this missing sub situation is complete nightmare fuel. You've likely at least heard about it, but let's break down the details. Because right now, 5 people are either dead or dying. So the sub, it's operated by OceanGate Expeditions, a company that does deep-sea adventures for tourists, and ever since 2021 has been making annual trips to the wreck of the Titanic. They've been doing that with their submersible called Titan, which dove off the coast of southeastern Canada yesterday morning. It's got about as much space inside as a minivan with 5-inch thick carbon fiber capped on each end by a dome of titanium to keep its 5 crew members safe. And what distinguishes a submersible from a submarine is that the former relies on a surface vessel or platform. But about an hour and 45 minutes after diving, Titan's surface vessel lost contact with it, so the U.S. and Canadian Coast Guards began a joint search operation, with boats, radar-equipped planes, and sonar buoys getting deployed to the area, but finding nothing as of this recording. Now, according to OceanGate, the sub is designed to hold 96 hours of emergency oxygen, and as of this morning, the operations chief said that they estimate between 70 and the full 96 hours were left. Though you had the U.S. Coast Guard later saying today they believe they have around 40 hours left. But even with that, you have people saying, even if they were found down there, how do you get them back? Right, the Titanic sits at 13,000 feet below sea level, a depth that's extremely remote, high pressure, and deeply freezing. Which, regarding that last note, if the sub suffered a power outage, it's believed the crew could freeze to death before they even ran out of oxygen. That said, officials are reportedly working to get a remotely operated vehicle that can go down deep enough to search for the sub underwater, but again, that's just the search. Because even if they find it, what do you actually do? Especially as you have experts noting how many fail-safes the submersible had, and openly theorizing that what may have happened was an implosion. But again, right now we do not know. And so obviously
how many
so many people
fail-safes?
Concerned and
I'm sorry, I watched a few videos. We watched, in fact, on this stream yesterday, a video where it sounded like if things went wrong, there was no rescue plan. Like, they said at this point, there's not really a way to rescue them. I think that's what Phil's saying, but like, come on, it is being crazy sugar-coated how stupid this was. It was not a smart decision to operate this vessel. I don't want to disparage anyone involved and say, like, they are unintelligent, but when you look at it from an outside perspective, they're saying, like, there's very little hope for rescue. Essentially, that vessel itself is like it's not a rescue vessel, but it's in like a scenario where like rescuers can't really go. They're already in like rescue territory. So if anything were to go wrong, they had to know this was going to happen.
worried, though I do need to note not everybody. Right? If you go on social media right now, there are a fair number of posts celebrating this story and pointing out that the crew members are extremely wealthy. Right?
I'm
Each
not
seat
trying to
costs
celebrate,
$250,000,
by the
so
way.
typically
I'm
only
not
3
trying to
passengers are
celebrate
paying
this.
customers. The other 2 are the pilot and the so-called content expert, basically a scientist or a researcher. Though regarding the people on board, we know one of them is Hamish Harding, a 59-year-old British billionaire and explorer.
Hamish
When I
Harding.
say explorer, I really mean it. He has 3 different adventure-related Guinness World Records. He went to Antarctica with Buzz Aldrin. He dove off the lowest depth of the Mariana Trench and spent over 4 hours there. Most recently, he went on one of the Blue Origin suborbital space
Yeah,
flights.
but like, who cares, dude? He's an adventure tourist.
Also, regarding the other passengers, Harding said before the mission, the retired French Navy commander.
I'm sorry. I don't want to disparage the man in case he passes away, but like, he's not an explorer. He's an adventure tourist. He pays people to take him to these exotic places.
Paul Henri Narjolet would be on board, with OceanGate advertising him as one of its content experts. He's 77 years old. He was on the first expedition
they
to
called
visit the
it
wreck back in
content
1987.
expert?
Currently
That's-
directs underwater research at the
what
company that owns the rights to the
disrespect for a
Titanic. The crew also
scientist.
reportedly includes Shahzada Dawood, one of Pakistan's richest men, and his 19-year-old son. And then finally, the 5th crew member is OceanGate's CEO himself, Stockton Rush, who reportedly goes on every Titanic mission. And while obviously this news is so incredibly shocking to hear, you have a lot of people saying if we look back now, retrospectively, it's not that shocking. With people,
Okay,
among
he's
other
gonna
things,
say
pointing
it.
to this now viral CBS segment from last year in which a reporter noted how improvised the sub appeared, saying it seemed to have, quote, elements of MacGyver jerry-riggedness with lighting from Camping World and construction pipes as ballast. People also pointing to the fact that they steered the craft using a video game controller. Though when researching this story, I found out that's not a weird thing, with that controller apparently standard use for submarines,
Yeah, that
tanks,
didn't weird
drones,
me
and
out.
other things for the
It was the
military.
other
People also
stuff.
focusing on the reporter reading the paperwork he had to sign before the trip.
An experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death.
With them also reporting that the surface ship guides a sub to the wreck via text
glad
communication,
they're
and their
going over
communication
this.
somehow broke down. And there's some
All right, so they're pretty much pointing everything out, but like, come on, dude.
reportedly never finding the wreck, instead just getting lost for 2.5 hours. So they did eventually the next day dive again and did find the Titanic. And in that same story, Rush defended his company.
Pressure vessel is not MacGyvered at all because that's where we worked with Boeing,
Not
NASA, and the
MacGyvered.
University of Washington. Everything else can fail. Your thrusters can go, your lights can go, you're still going to be safe.
But ultimately, that's where we are right now in this developing situation. While things
how
seem
safe,
very
though?
much hopeless, I'm hoping for the best. And then, this is a quick scheduling update for all
Yeah,
you
me
beautiful
too,
bastards.
but-
Since Monday, of course, there was no video, it was a holiday, and there being so much news, so much so I couldn't even get to everything that I wanted to today, there's going to be bonus morning Philip DeFranco shows this week. Starting tomorrow, where among other things, we're going to talk about Hunter Biden, that whole plea deal, everything going down. So ideally, just make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Ideally,
Oh,
you have
man,
notifications
Hunter
turned
Biden's
on. Otherwise,
penis. Can't
just come
wait to
back
hear
tomorrow
about
morning.
it.
I'll be aiming for like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Pacific. And then Andrew Tate is now free from the uncertainty over what's going to happen with the possible charges because he has now officially
Yes.
been charged
I
in
like that
Romania. He was
lead-in.
arrested back in December of last year, moved to house arrest later, and now he's officially been charged with rape, human trafficking, and forming a criminal group to exploit women.
Ugh.
He's not alone with this because his brother and
Trigger
their 2
warning.
female associates are also facing those same charges. And according to a press release from investigative authorities in Romania, Tate and company allegedly lured victims by saying they wanted to pursue a romantic
Allegedly.
relationship with them, only for them to then use acts of violence and mental coercion to force them to make pornographic content. With the press release also singling out one defendant in particular for forcing a victim to have repeated sexual relations in March of 2022. And while it did not specifically name who, the Washington Post reviewed court documents stating that Andrew Tate himself was being investigated for 2 incidents of rape that month. And with this, unsurprisingly, Tate is once again denying the allegations, with reps of both brothers vowing to demonstrate their innocence and vindicate their reputation. With Andrew Tate also responding on Twitter, writing, "Men, this isn't about me. This isn't about whether you like me or not. This is about all of us. Today it's me, tomorrow it's you. Nobody is safe from these lies." As far as where things stand now, do not expect anything to be rushed. But a Romanian judge now
What
has
is he
60
trying to
days
say?
review
Like,
the
if
case
you-
before it
if
can
you
go to
are
trial.
word
Even with
someone,
that,
you're gonna go to
don't hold your
jail?
breath,
No
because
shit,
the
man.
BBC News saying it could take several
Yes,
years to
yeah,
play
I hope
out.
you
And
go
then
to jail if
chemicals
you
in
are
water
word someone.
turning young boys trans, and routine vaccines are connected to the rise of autism. Those are just 2 things that have been suggested by the person at the center of this misinformation
RFK.
story, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Though
Oh,
currently
shit.
he's in the news for a different vaccine story. Because this one starts with a Vice article calling out Spotify and Joe Rogan for platforming RFK Jr. on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. And in the article, they say their conversation allowed for a detailed survey of Kennedy's most dangerously incorrect views, all of which Rogan accepted uncritically. But some saying they weren't surprised by that, given how Rogan in the past has done a number of things, including talking about the COVID vaccine by saying,
If you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. This is
No.
really gene therapy. It's a different thing.
which, to be clear, according to an overwhelming number of the experts in that actual field, is not true. But regarding this recent podcast, you had vaccine scientist Peter Hotez sharing that Vice article over the weekend, with key thing, Hotez being part of a Nobel Prize-nominated group that made an affordable and accessible COVID vaccine. And in his post linking to the Vice article, he called out vaccine misinformation, saying Rogan's podcast with RFK Jr. was just awful, and added, and from all the online attacks I'm receiving after this absurd podcast, it's clear many actually believe this nonsense. And that leading to an absolutely wild pile-on. With it starting simple enough, Joe Rogan himself responding, saying, Peter, if you claim what RFK Jr. is saying is misinformation, I am offering you $100,000 to the charity of your choice if you're willing to debate him on my show with no time limit. With Hotez replying, Joe, you have my cell, my email, I'm always willing to speak with you. For Rogan calling that a non-answer, saying, I challenged you publicly because you publicly quote-tweeted and agreed with that dog shit Vice article. If you're really serious about what you stand for, you now have a massive opportunity for a debate that will reach the largest audience a discussion like this has ever had. Which Hotez responded by saying that if Joe is serious about addressing vaccines and the fact that 200,000 unvaccinated Americans needlessly died during COVID surges after falling victim to vaccine misinformation, he would have that conversation. Which Rogan then just doubled down on asking if Hotez would debate RFK Jr. And this back and forth blew the fuck up. With people, yes, defending Hotez, but a ton of people dogpiling on top of it. Even Elon Musk, who famously declared that COVID would be over by April of 2020, decided he was qualified to hop in as well, writing that Hotez is afraid of a public debate because he knows he's wrong. Though regarding having a conversation about this topic, you had Hotez later telling MSNBC he offered to go on Joe Rogan, but didn't want it to turn into a Jerry Springer episode by also having RFK Jr. on. And again, as that's happening, this whole ordeal is just growing and growing, turning into this massive online frenzy. People pushing for him to be in this debate, though others defending him, saying this is a bad idea. Writing things like, so Joe Rogan insisting Peter Hotez debate notorious anti-vaccine spoofer RFK Jr. shows Rogan fails to grasp debate is only useful if conducted in good faith. If one party lies, you're just giving them a vehicle to spread that lie to detriment of understanding. And some claiming this attack against Hotez is a calculated effort by hack GOP partisans and anti-vax conspiracy theorists, saying it's more than vile and it'll devastate responses to the next pandemic. With the general idea of this belief being you don't have an expert debate a conspiracy theorist on a massive platform because they're being seen as equal. It just validates and elevates the conspiracy theory, especially if your moderator is someone that has a side on this. Also, with the situation, we saw things spilling over into the real world, with Hotez being confronted and harassed at his own home by people, and Hotez telling the Washington Post he had just picked up a Father's Day cake when two people accosted him as he walked into his home, saying he shoved his cell phone camera in my face and asked if I would debate RFK on Rogan. They were clearly lying in wait, and saying the anti-vaccine attacks usually come in waves of aggression, and this one is about as bad as it's been in the last 20 years. And so with all this, you had people obviously condemning those who are harassing him, but also going even further and saying, hey, the likes of Rogan and Musk, they're encouraging and inciting this behavior. And then, listen, I truly believe that staying as healthy as you can is crucial, but also I understand that finding a trusted doctor and finding the time to talk to them can be a challenge. But that's also where the fantastic partner and sponsor of today's show comes in, ZocDoc.
Okay, we don't like ads on this channel. Not because we don't want people to get that bag, but because we're not sponsored by anyone, so fuck advertisers.
Torture exposed.
Oops.
doc.com/Phil.
ZocDoc. Okay, if you want to know what it is, you have to Google
and then,
it. Okay,
I'm
bye.
so sorry, but we have to talk about this. The headline starts with sadistic monkey torture exposed. Because after being investigated by authorities from around the world, including the Department of Homeland Security, there was a horrible monkey torture ring with hundreds of customers that was discovered. I'm not going to get too detailed here because those details are absolutely sickening, but the TLDR is that a group of men in Indonesia would take baby long-tailed macaques and torture them. And that involved everything from teasing their bottles away to them cutting off parts and worse, oftentimes killing them. The videos originally starting on YouTube, but eventually
goddamn trigger warning. What the fuck is this shit?
Key individuals acting as video distributors, these including Americans like Mike McCartney, a former biker gang member.
Oh man, looks like a really good dude.
Like a guy who would sell monkey torture videos, and two, describe this as
no
different
some
than drug
really
money.
cool
Drug
flags
money comes
behind
from
him.
Dirty hands. This money comes from bloody hands. With McCartney actually being just one of a handful of Americans being investigated by the Department of Homeland Security for their involvement in the ring. That including Stacey Story, whose phone was seized by DHS agents and found to have nearly 100 torture videos alongside evidence that she had paid for some of the worst ones. So she claims she is the victim of a hack, though of course that would be a very weird and specific hack, but that's her claim. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens to the people being accused.
They stole my monkey torture videos and put them on the internet.
Anybody would ever be ready for a crime like this. The same with the attorneys and the juries and anybody who reads that this is going on. It's going to be a shocker, I think. But I'm also warning that if you participated in this at all, expect a knock on your door. So far, this seems to be very much the case regardless of where you're from, because even in Indonesia, there have been arrests made of some of the worst offenders. And with that, I would like to just volunteer myself if possible. If one of the punishments can be throw rocks at the faces of the people responsible for this, I have a pretty decent throw. I'm no Otani, but if you put me close enough, I can do the job.
That's too mild. Just throwing rocks at them.
Donald Trump completely screw himself. Because yesterday they aired this absolutely unhinged interview Trump did with Brett Baer, and among other things, it appears that he pretty much just admitted to mishandling classified documents on television. And in this, Brett's asking him some pretty straightforward question, asking why did you have these very sensitive national security defense documents like the war plans for a strike?
All right, I was wondering if this was going to be a shit show, and unless Phil's is blowing it out of proportion. Oh God,
in Iran, to which Trump responds,
So like every other president, I take things out. And in my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people packed it up and we left. And I had clothing in there. I had all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. As far as the levels and all, everything was declassified because I had the right to declassify. I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing.
with Trump then going on to claim, hey, this is a very simple situation. The only way the National Archives and Records Administration, aka NARA, could have gotten the boxes back is if they had asked me. To which Brett responds by pointing out, hey, NARA did ask for those boxes back, but you refused to return them. But then Trump seeming to admit that he kept the classified documents in his possession even after the DOJ subpoenaed him so he could separate out personal items that he claims were among the records.
We
They
were
did ask
talking.
for it.
No, and
They said,
I gave
can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?
and we were talking.
And then they said they went to DOJ
Oh,
to
no.
subpoena
Oh,
you
no.
to get them
which they've
So
never done
bad.
before.
Right.
And in all
By the way, like, I don't really like anyone on Fox News, and this guy has just as fake a tan as Trump, but like, oh my God, it's hilarious to watch someone who has rode his dick so hard go like, hey man, what the fuck is this shit?
Just hand them over then.
because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal
wanna go through
things
the
out.
boxes,
I don't want to
man.
hand that over
The
to Nary
boxing
yet.
ring.
And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
No.
But
I've been
according to
very,
the
very
indictment,
busy.
you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things. Golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes. There were many things. I would say
Oh, no.
much.
They called it a boxing ring. Okay, well, let's go back.
Asking him some pretty straightforward questions, asking why do you have these very sensitive national security defense documents like the war plans for a strike in Iran, to which Trump responds,
So like every other president, I take things out. And in my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people
we're really
packed
sorry.
it
We
up
didn't
and
realize we weren't
left.
showing
And I had
this on
clothing in
screen.
there.
It's
I
fucking
had
amazing.
all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. As far as the levels and all, everything was declassified because I had the right to declassify. I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing.
with Trump then going on to claim, hey, this is a very simple situation. The only way the National Archives and Records Administration, aka NARA, could have gotten the boxes back is if they had asked me. To which Brett responds by pointing out, hey, NARA did ask for those boxes back, but you refused to return them. But then Trump seeming to admit that he kept the classified documents in his possession even after the DOJ subpoenaed him so he could separate out personal items that he claims are among the
Dude,
records.
I
We did
can't
ask
believe
for it.
No, and
They said,
I gave
can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?
and we were talking.
Called
And
it
then
a
they
boxing
said
ring.
They went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
Which
back.
they've never done before.
Right.
And in
But
all
why not
fairness,
just hand them over then?
Because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things out. I don't want to hand that over to Nary yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but
I've been
according to
very,
the
very
indictment,
busy.
you then tell this aide to move
My
to other
boxes.
locations
I had to go through
after
my
telling
boxes.
your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all
the
of my things
boxes.
out. These
My
boxes
things are
were
in the
interspersed
boxes.
with all sorts of things. Golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes.
No. That's the defense. No. Why? He's such a
There were many things. I would say
There were many things.
much more. Not that I know of, but everything was declassified.
And Bear continuing to press Trump on the alleged Iran war document. And for some
so
quick context
good.
there, what he is talking about
Holy
here is
shit.
arguably the most damning part of the entire indictment against Trump. Because in the indictment, prosecutors specifically flagged two examples where they say that Trump showed people classified documents. Where we've talked about it on the show. The first instance taking place in July of 2021 when he gave an interview to an author of a forthcoming book while two staffers were present. And then a transcript from the interview, which Donald Trump knew was being recorded, he can be heard greeting the group by saying he's found a senior military official's plan of attack for a foreign country. With it being widely reported that the official is former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, and the country in question is Iran. And in this transcript, he repeatedly describes them as highly confidential and secret. And later, he and his staffer are literally heard talking about needing to declassify the materials they're discussing, which is when Trump says the now infamous line, "As president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is still a secret," which of course is absolutely key because it completely contradicts Trump's previous argument that he had declassified all the documents he had. And so in this interview, you have Bear reading that part of the indictment back to Trump and then asking why he even had this document when he knew that he couldn't declassify it, which is when we see Trump try to change tactics.
When I said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that. When I'm not president, I can't declassify.
And that's what you said. You
I
didn't
said that.
declassify it.
I said no. I said I couldn't.
I could have
but that wasn't a
declassified it.
document, Brett. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document.
May have been held up and may have been not.
There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and
Maybe I showed it to someone, maybe I didn't, but that's not important here.
articles.
But that also appears to be a
Just a
load of bullshit,
classified
because not only did
document.
Trump not present any evidence, it's also pretty fucking obvious he wasn't talking about newspaper clipping. Right? I haven't gotten a physical magazine in a while, but what magazine article do you show people that is confidential and secret? So with this interview, it wasn't just the things pertaining to the legal problems that Donald Trump's facing that went viral. Easily my favorite non-legal moment from this interview is where Bear challenges Trump regarding his hiring practices.
In 2016, you said that. I'm going to surround myself with only the best and most serious people.
Well, I did do that.
This
and we
time-
had tremendous look. We had the best economy we've ever had.
This
the world
time-
has ever seen.
Your Vice President, Mike Pence, is running against you.
Yeah.
Your Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, she's running against you. Your former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, said he's not supporting you. You mentioned National Security Advisor John Bolton.
Holy
He's not
shit, he
supporting
is
you either.
roasting
You
him
mentioned
so
Attorney General
hard.
Bill Barr,
Oh my
says
God.
you shouldn't be president again. Calls you the consummate narcissist and troubled man. You recently called and Barr a gutless pig. Your second defense secretary is not supporting you. Called you irresponsible.
Shut the
This
fuck
week, you and your White House
Trump is speechless.
called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective
Oh my
and
God.
born with a very small brain. You called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock. And your first Defense Secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general.
He
You
had a
called your
fucking
White House
full
Press Secretary,
mag loaded
Kennedy
up.
Milquetoast.
Holy shit.
And multiple times you've referred to your Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, as Mitch McConnell's China-loving wife. So, why did you hire all of them in the first place?
Because I hired 10 to 1 that were fantastic.
Oh no. He fucking had like 17 sledgehammers off camera ready to go.
Also, a thing I need to stress here is these are just some of the examples of Trump totally fumbling the interview. Right, for the sake of time, I'm just trying to make this consumable, but it was so bad. I mean, you even had many prominent conservative figures pointing out how bad it went, talking about how it seems like Trump just basically incriminated himself. And then noting that Trump's comments here could likely end up being shown to a jury in his case. Which on the note, we also got the news today that the judge overseeing the documents case has set a trial date for August, which is very significant because it represents a very aggressive and fast-moving schedule. Though notably here, that is the attempt. It's widely expected that the initial date will be pushed back by pre-trial litigation from Trump's team. And then, so what we're learning now is that in 2020, Putin ordered his intelligence services to cross a red line, kill a Russian informant for the CIA in Miami, with Alexander Potayev being a high-ranking Russian intelligence officer who flipped back in 1999 and began working with the CIA. In 2001, he signed a contract with the CIA that was reportedly worth somewhere between $2 to $5 million. And while being a CIA informant, he helped the U.S. arrest 11 Russian spies who were living under deep cover in suburbs and cities on the East Coast. Spies who had assumed false names and lived regular lives, right? They were sleeper agents. In fact, the spy bus was the inspiration for the TV show The Americans. And so Alexander fled to the U.S. before he could be arrested for this betrayal, and upon arrival, he joined the CIA's version of the Witness Protection Program. They made him disappear. He took a different name for a period of time. He lived a regular life. And Russia had sent intelligence operators to America to find him and presumably kill him, with one Kremlin official suggesting they would have sent a hitman after him, but they couldn't find him. That is, until he registered as a Republican so he could vote and took out a fishing license in his real name in 2016. And that's when Russia forced a Mexican scientist to help them. Hector Fuentes, he was a Mexican citizen who studied in Russia, also had 2 wives, one who notably was Russian and lived in Germany, one who lived in Mexico. And when Fuentes' Russian wife and kids visited Russia in 2019, the authorities refused to allow her to go back to Germany. Fuentes then going to Russia to visit them, hopefully get them back. But when he arrived, he was told a Russian official wanted to see him in Moscow, who then told him, "We can help each other." And so they told Fuentes, "You have to get this condo in Miami Beach where Potayev lives," and then ordered to find his car, obtain his license plate number, note its physical location, and did not take any pictures. So what did he do? He took pictures, of course. He botched the whole operation by trying to tailgate a vehicle into the apartment complex, which then alerted security, who told him to leave, but not before his wife took a photo of Potayev's license plate. And 2 days later, when he tried to fly to Mexico, Customs and Border Patrol stopped him and searched his phone, where they found a picture of the license plate. When Fuentes was arrested, he sang like a canary. He told the investigators everything, and it turns out that Fuentes didn't even know who he was targeting or their significance. Or rather, he was just following orders from Russia's SVR in exchange for letting his wife and kids go home. But that excuse didn't stop a punishment, with Fuentes being sentenced to prison for 4 years and 1 day. As far as the bigger picture, this whole revelation of the plot to kill Potayev elicited a harsh response from the U.S., who imposed sanctions and expelled 10 Russian diplomats, including the chief of the SVR station. In a response, Russia kicked out 10 American diplomats and the head of the CIA's Moscow office. And that is where today's Daily Dive is going to end. But remember, because we took Monday off, there's so much more news we got to get to. I'm giving you even more videos this week, starting with what essentially is a bonus PDS tomorrow morning. I'm going to talk about what's happening with Hunter Biden, among other news. But as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, so that was today's Philip DeFranco. Huge YouTubers are quitting. Yeah, let's see.
Join me on a little adventure for a moment, because I'd like to talk about dreams. Not as like a psychologist or anything. I'm not about to hold up Rorschachs and ask you what you see in the ink blots and try and tie it to like some trauma from when your high school bully put your head in the toilet and flushed it. I want to talk about dream jobs specifically. Because 20 years ago, if you asked a child what their dream job is, you'd probably get some silly things like a professional ice cream tester, getting paid to try different ice cream flavors. But now, if you ask pretty much any kid in the world what their dream job is, all of them will probably give you the same answer: YouTuber, or more broadly, online content creator, so streamer, YouTuber, things like that. And it's a dream job for more than just children, obviously. There are people of all ages that very much want some kind of online presence as a career, and it's just become a very sought-after occupation. There are more people hunting after an online career than there were assassins hunting after John Wick. And the reason I mention this is because there's recently been a rise in the frequency of large content creators expressing burnout, as well as just being completely miserable by the content creation grind, needing to take long breaks, or just outright announcing that they're quitting altogether. In fact, that's what we're talking about today. That's the subject that I want to go over, because Tfue just made a very heartfelt video saying goodbye to his audience, talking about how all of the decade-plus long grind he's been embarked on has kind of made him feel like his life is slipped away from him. He doesn't regret any of his choices, but he recognized that he spent the majority of his life just behind a computer screen and wants to really finally feel free to live the life that he feels will be the happiest for him. So he made this video, which is kind of like the ending credits to like a franchise finale, where it just goes over the, best of moments throughout his life online. And he says that he's kind of just hanging up his hat. He's retiring the jersey number. He's stepping away from streaming and making content. If he doesn't know how long, he says he'll likely be back at some point, but it won't be for a long time. Again, if he ever does come back at all.
I still don't know who he's talking about.
And this isn't the first big content creator to say something like this. And just within the last week, PewDiePie also recently made an announcement about how he finally feels free from the content grind now that he lives in Japan. He's got his baby. Like, there are a lot of examples of this over the last year alone of huge content creators that are just kind of ready to move on from making content online. And I wanted to go over why, because again, this is a dream job for so many people. And this is something I've always said, and I'll once again scream it from the mountaintops here. Being a YouTuber or a streamer is the luckiest position you can ever have, and in most cases is legitimately easier than 9-to-5 jobs outside of the internet or other positions that exist outside of the internet. When you are an online creator, for the most part, you get to choose your own hours. It's very flexible on what content you're making or what you really want your online footprint to be. You are in control for the most part, which is a luxury most people, 99% of people in the world, don't get to experience. So how could there even come a time where someone's just like really tired of it or made miserable by it? And I kind of just want to look at that, because it's not like these creators are geriatric now. It's not like they spent 40 years in the industry and they're just finally ready to just say, kapooey, I'm done here. Like, these are still young people. Tfue's 25 years old. He has been online for over a decade, though. PewDiePie is in his early 30s, and he's been online for over a decade as well. So they have been in the industries for, pretty much since the infancy of this whole space. But they're not, like, super old. So how does it get to the point where they're just really that done with it at such a young age? That's what I kind of want to explore here. So, in Tfue's video, it's a very honest and open look at what his content creation journey felt like, where he was streaming all the time, making videos.
I'm just gonna say it right now. I think a theme across a lot of the creators who just say they're done. They have the money to do that too, to just literally decide they're going to retire and not work. So if your choice is like making content or doing literally whatever you want, that's a way better choice than like making YouTube for a living or quitting and going to get like a regular job that you hated before. So I don't know if he'll address that, but just want to put that out there.
All the time, and he felt trapped by it. Now, he does mention something that many people aren't going to sympathize too hard with, and I understand why. He mentions that having to stream 6 to 8 hours a day every day was brutal and draining. And a lot of people will recognize that that's kind of just normal 9 to 5 job hours. Like, that's less than 9 to 5 job hours, and most people don't have a job that they love, or a job that's fun, like playing video games, and they're certainly not making millions of dollars playing video games for the 6 to 8 hour period, right? So it's something that a lot of people kind of roll their eyes at, and I do get it, because, again, it is a dream position. However, it doesn't, like, nullify his feelings on it, being forced to play basically 1 or 2 games, or basically just one type of game forever, otherwise viewers drop off, being forced to never really take a break because then you lose so many subs. Like, it is still a draining thing for sure, in a different way. You kind of become a prisoner of consistency, or else you risk taking a big hit to your income for the month. So it is a mentally damaging thing to feel forced to do shit you don't want to do for a long period of time, which I'm sure a lot of people in the normal working world can also relate to. Let me give you a quick example. I stream daily, and I've streamed daily for the last 6 or so years. However, 2 months ago, I had to take 4 days off. Well, it's not like I had to take it. It wasn't like a fucking government mandated vacation or anything. I usually will only take like maybe 1 day a month if something came up and it was too late to stream. So very rarely will you see me not online for 4 days in a row. That's apocalyptic vacation time for Charles there. That's that shit where the audience got concerned and like, damn, we might need a search and rescue team. Like, Charles might be in trouble here. This could be a message, a deeper message.
Is my Achilles heel.
I had 4 days where I didn't stream in a row because a lot had came up and I just really wasn't able to. And when I did come back, I lost 8,000 subscribers. 8,000 subscribers out of the 26,000 subs I had at the time just vanished in an instant because I took 4 days off from streaming, and I still haven't gotten them back. It's not like they all just came back once I was online again.
Oh, no?
This isn't some complaint or pity party here, because I recognize how unbelievably lucky I am to be in the position that I am. I am one of the luckiest people in the world to be able to do what I do. So this happening wasn't like some kind of shock or something that made me upset or anything like that. This was something I absolutely knew was coming after 4 days off because I'd seen it happen to so many other large creators. This was one of the main motivators behind Ludwig's subathon, if I remember correctly. He took like a week-long vacation and lost like 10,000 subs and kind of panicked to try and get them back and did the subathon. I remember Tyler 1 made a quick statement on stream after a short time off where he's like, man, I lost 15,000 subscribers. And this is just something that happens if you're not there every single night, basically, on streaming. Since the online audience is always frothing at the mouth for content, they'll find other streamers elsewhere to fill that void because it's such a competitive space. Maybe they come back, maybe they don't. And maybe they do come back, but they don't have a Twitch Prime, right? Like, there's just so many things at play that do ultimately have a big impact on the person's income when they're a streamer, which is why you very rarely see streamers take a long vacation, or even if they do take a vacation, they still stream during it. Because it's kind of scary not to, because even just taking 1 day off can result in a drastic decline overnight, basically. So for Tfue to talk about this, like, I understand the perspective where if he wasn't streaming every single day, and I know he had a Twitch contract, so he also had minimum hour guaranteed that he had to hit, which I imagine was probably like 160 or maybe 180 hours would be my guess, but I'm just speculating. If he's not doing that every single day, it's hard to make up those hours, and it's also hard to hold on to his audience and that subscriber base. So it could absolutely be a really mentally shitty thing to go through. So I understand why that would be frustrating and make him feel like, you know, he can't really set aside time to do other things that he wants to do outside of streaming. And in the video, he said something that I think is a really interesting look at how the perspective shifts once someone reaches that level and is kind of trapped doing the same stuff. He said that in the beginning, gaming was an escape from reality, but now reality is an escape from gaming for him, because it's now just become something that he is completely obligated to do and isn't finding enough joy in anymore to make it feel like he's spending his time in a good way that makes him happy. Now, he's in a very fortunate position where he has generational wealth. He has oodles of clams, millions upon millions of dollars that he can use to live his life to the absolute fullest and do the most thrilling shit imaginable if he chooses to off the internet. And I think he recognizes how lucky he is, because there's countless people that would love to just leave their 9-to-5 to be able to explore what makes them happiest. And
Seriously.
That's fundamentally what Tifu's doing. He's just in a fortunate, lucky position that he is financially secure enough to just step away from his job, his career. And this video is just letting his audience know, like, guys, I really appreciate the support, but it's time to move on to the next chapter of my life, which I think is a totally respectable thing. Now, this is a question I get asked a lot, and especially more recently because of so many YouTubers doing things like Tifu is, making these announcements about very long breaks or all this burnout that they're experiencing, or just outright calling it quits. I've been getting asked if there's ever a period that I plan on stopping, making videos or streaming, because I've been making shit online since 2007, so it's been a good 16 years here. I actually started in 2006, but I've told all those stories quite a bit. I'm not just gonna give you the lore dump yet again. But, I'm starting to get a little gray in the face here. So is there ever a time where I just plan on calling it quits? And my answer is always a resounding no. Me making shit online is what makes me happiest. I have always been doing this shit because I have fun doing it. It's never been like an obligation for me or something I feel forced to do. I've just always done it purely for the love of it. So I couldn't imagine a time where I just hate it and get made miserable by it and need to step away or something like that. But I always understand people who do. And I think one of the main contributing factors to that I've discussed a lot is when a creator gets kind of pigeonholed into one type of content and they feel like they can't branch out from it, it leads to them getting really made miserable by it, feeling forced to keep doing one thing forever. No one wants to do the same song and dance a million times. Eventually they want to try other things, but online, taking that step to try other things is extremely scary because it comes with a really real risk of losing a lot of your audience or making things that they won't enjoy or, just driving people away. And that's your entire career. That's your livelihood. You can't really take chances like that for a lot of creators. So it's always a very difficult thing to do, but I think it's the most rewarding thing as well. Because there's very few people that will be content making the exact same thing that they've been making for a decade. It takes a very strong mental to keep doing the same shit forever without wanting to try other things. But again, for a lot of creators, they feel like they need to, and I think that's what really leads to a lot of that burnout and that feeling of needing to take breaks, because
for sure.
The endless grind monotony of just doing it all day after day, this fucking same stale routine, gets to be draining. So I really think that a lot of the big contributing factors that make other creators burn out, I don't really have myself because I do such an incredibly large variety of content and so much different shit. Like, literally, we just started a wrestling league, our own wrestling promotion a few months ago that we're going so hog wild with. Like, we're constantly doing new things. I'm constantly trying different types of content, doing all kinds of wild shit. So I just never really experienced that. Now, of course, I can't speak for 40 years in the future here, but I just don't really envision a time where I'm going to stop having fun making things. So right now, I don't foresee a future where I just call it quits on creating content or anything like that. But again, with all of these other creators that are talking about this, I really do get it from their perspective on how it gets to that point, even with a job like YouTubing or streaming, a dream job. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to go over this whole topic here. I'm wishing Tifu the absolute best, and I hope whatever he decides to do now post content creation is something that makes him extremely happy. He deserves it. Everyone deserves to pursue what makes them happiest. and Tifu is in a lucky position that he gets to do that. So wishing him the best, and anyone else that's recently announced breaks or, calling it quits on content creation, I hope whatever they choose to do next is something that makes them feel very happy. So yeah, just wanted to talk about it. That's about it. So yeah.
Okay, hold on. We're
Oh no.
oh no. Oh, he was in Japan in that one. Okay, so there's like a lot going on. I'm gonna go get a drink super quick, quick refreshment break, and then we will be right back. To watch some more videos. Thanks for sticking around with us. Please subscribe if you're on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, hit that bell button so you can be notified anytime we go live. We are not going. We'll be back in 5 minutes or less. Refreshment time. Go get one yourself. Alright, thanks for waiting. We are back. We're going to throw on the guitar in just a sec. We'll pick one more video to watch, and then we're actually going to work on some guitar stuff. Let's see. We make a playlist so we can go over everything we want to watch. Okay, there's that. There's Twitch. We're here. We're back, everybody. And hello. Okay. So, what we're pretty excited about is to watch. We already watched that one. I'm gonna remove that one. Okay. I think Gabby Bell deserves her watch. I tried the worst baking product ever. Gabby Bell, let's do it.
Infomercials were a huge part of early 2000s television. We've seen many products, from kitchenware to cleaning stuff to clay.
My brother and I used to love watching infomercials. We still talk about like the Ronco rotisserie and the Cutco knives, because we used to watch those late at night because that was what was on TV and wasn't like inappropriate. So we felt like if our mom and dad came home or came downstairs and like saw that that's what we were watching, I guess we thought we were safe. But also sometimes we just liked watching it. Big Billy Mays fans, bummed out when Ad Men was canceled.
That can pull a semi-truck. And how could I forget about the golf club that you piss in?
It looks like an ordinary golf club
so
that contains
good.
a reservoir built into the grip to relieve yourself. The Euro Club comes with a towel and appears that you were just checking out your club.
There may be an infomercial that still lives in your head rent-free. Something you have no business storing in.
I work at a company that makes golf ball flasks. So, similar vein, I guess we should hook up with the Euro Club.
Your brain. For you, it might be zoo books, the Snuggie, or the shake weight. For me, it was something seemingly not nearly as impressive or revolutionary. For me, it was the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill. The Betty Crocker Bacon Fill, the 4-piece kitchen baking set that allows you to create cakes with a filling. You know what? Let me just have it explain itself.
Introducing the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill, a delightful new pan that lets you prepare a cake with all kinds of delicious fillings. Imagine the look on your child's face when you cut into the cake and there's his favorite flavor of ice cream. Just pour your favorite Betty Crocker cake mix into the main bacon fill pan and lock on this special inner chamber. Now pour more cake mix into this base pan and put them both in to bake. When they're done, remove the insert, add your filling to the center cavity, all for only $19.95. Guaranteed to delight.
So this was $19.95. Didn't you say you paid $50 for it on eBay?
Yeah, I got it aftermarket, so it's like, I got it.
So I recruited my friend and fellow YouTuber Chris James to find out, did this thing actually work? Could I make perfect cakes with this thing and single-handedly put the Walmart bakery out of business? Infomercials get a lot of flack for misleading advertising, so I wanted to get my hands on the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill to put it to the test and defend their name as an infomercial product. I got it. Oh! So Chris scoured eBay, Amazon, anywhere that we could get our grubby little hands on the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill. Because I know this might be surprising, but they didn't sell it new anymore. Anywhere. Was it because it was 4 separate baking pans taking up space for one product you won't use that often? No chance. But we found it on eBay for $50, ordered it, washed out whatever weird gunk the previous owner decided to bake in it, but I can't imagine why they would have wanted to get rid of it. We're doing the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill baking set pan that comes with several pieces.
This is the bottom part.
Right.
This is the bottom part of the cake. This is the top part.
Right. Because what could possibly go wrong with 2 inexperienced bakers in the kitchen? So that goes there, and this goes
and then
here, and that.
Well, this goes in like this in the oven.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah.
What a steal that we found this on eBay for $50.
Thank
I
God.
wonder why no one wanted 4 pieces for one device. First step was to make the batter.
mean, how bad could a cake made by 2 YouTubers be?
Just follow the directions. It's
so
not like
Yeah,
shit.
baking is so easy. 1.
I'm glad you did that, because I would not go that quick if I did it.
You're not good at eggs? Sounds like he needs a...
Easy cracker. Watch. It's so
No.
easy.
Do you want to hold the yucky eggs? Thank you. Now we mix. Fox.
Fuck.
It's fine. It's fine. Basically, making the batter was a piece of cake.
How long did we do this for?
Was that a Father's Day
But we
joke?
were just getting started. This isn't a test of skill. This is a test of Betty Crocker. And with so much blood, sweat, and tears of people whose jobs are sitting at a computer, pour that shit. We poured the batter into the mouth of the Betty Crocker beast. And I think that might be a lot. Subsequently, poured a bit too much in the top pan. But fear not, we fixed it. Now it's time to pop and lock it.
And lock on this special inner chamber.
Oh, they weren't kidding. Fuck.
Betty. Okay, I was just doing it the wrong way.
And put them both into bake.
Oh no, we forgot to grease the pan.
Okay, so how long?
Bro.
I don't know. Bunt pans grease and flour pan, but we have a non-stick bunt type pan. So, like technically it would be 30 minutes, but for a bunt pan,
Oh, maybe
pan
do
it's
we take out
more.
the normal pan? Like the one that's exposed? Do we take that one out first?
I don't know, they didn't say that in the infomercial. So we ended up just guesstimating the time and hoped for the best. Now it is frosting time.
Yeah.
With the Betty Crocker bacon fill going to work in the oven,
The
it
bacon
was
fill.
time
It sounds
to
like
make the icing for our cake.
bacon fill. And good job. You made
Do you
the
know
icing.
how much to put? I mean,
No,
okay.
I've never used food coloring before.
I don't think it takes much.
Because my mom says it'll like kill me.
You're right.
Cancer.
She's right too.
Crocker bacon, but we'll do that before the food coloring. Who knows what that thing's coated with? Alright, I mean, I didn't get as much out as you, but
No, you did a good job.
you're saying it in that kind of tone that makes me think the same.
Well, you are doubting your abilities, and I'm just trying to give you the encouragement that you need. Because that's what friends do.
We are business partners right now. We didn't talk all day. We just showed up and read the script, and that's how we do it. I don't know who she thinks she is talking down to me in the kitchen like that. I'm Chris James, mind freak, for f***'s sake. In this food coloring? Really? Get a grip.
Okay, that's good, that's good. I'm nervous. Food coloring? Yeah, it scares me. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Because I care about my friends. I feel like I'm just gonna be eating chemicals.
Those come from the earth. You gotta use your fist. Hold the thing with your, like, to get some...
Like this?
Yeah, a little lower down to get some more lever. No, not like this. Like right in the middle.
I'm left-handed.
I mean, but
What do you
do it
want
like,
from me?
You don't have to do it upside down. Yeah, like, yeah. Long
This
time.
is not a good grip. Oh yeah, we're not telling you how we're decorating our cake or what we're filling it with until the end, you know, as a surprise. But we will be adding more food coloring during this commercial break. Are you so busy that you don't have time to cook? Or did your wife leave? Now you were
No, we don't like sponsors.
Get faster.
Don't like sponsors. Don't like sponsors. We don't.
We made the best % off your
Fuck
first
sponsors
Factor
because we're not
box.
sponsored.
The link right
Don't
now
go to
and
this
we'll
link.
double
No,
your
don't go to
offer
the
and
link.
include
Don't
one
go to the
high
link.
five
Fuck you.
with your order.
Don't go to the link.
Previously
Alright.
on Dragon Ball
Unfucked.
Z, we made the batter, put the Betty Crocker bacon fill in the oven, and drenched in food coloring in the icing. And it looks like the timer's done on the oven. It's beautiful. We did a
Actually, it looks good.
poll, and it was beautiful.
Let's do it.
How?
We're gonna do it with our bare hands like she does on the... Or do we have to let this sit?
When they're done, remove the insert, add your filling to the center cavity, and cover it with a base.
Let's give it a second.
She didn't want to give it a sec.
I got it. Oh!
Looks terrible.
That works.
So far, the Betty Crocker bacon fill holds up to its name.
Add your filling to the center cavity and cover it with a base.
It baked, and all that's left to do is fill and decorate. Gentle.
Okay, this
This is salvageable.
Oh, Jesus.
So, the results were not promising.
All right,
Nor
at least she was
it as
honest.
easy as the infomercial made it seem.
Add your filling to the center cavity.
Dude, they saw that.
Cover it with a base. In no time.
They 100% saw that kid having that ice cream and got the hunger like I did.
You'll have the greatest cake you ever made.
But not all hope was lost.
They did
so far, my hope for the Betty Crocker bacon
ice
fill
cream
being a
just
great
like
and
the,
useful product was surely faded.
Oh, damn, dude. Damn, dude. No. Oh, they got it. Mint chocolate chip.
Looks like open brain surgery.
Not when we're done with it.
They could have just made a cake and had ice cream with it. This is much more interesting of a video.
We thought hopefully
I think in the future they'll probably
no one would notice or see it.
probably just
but
do
while
that.
I was putting frosting on the cake, we didn't realize how much time was passing, and it was passing fast.
All the ice cream melted.
You're scraping it off. You have to put it back on. Not that it mattered that much, besides the fact that the cake was filled with ice cream. But we remembered and we put the cake in the freezer for a bit.
Oh, that's a good idea. I did not think about
This is
that.
where we really began decorating the cake. As I draw, see if you can guess what we're decorating the cake as.
The Minecraft thing. Creeper.
Oh yeah, so this is a Minecraft creeper cake.
Oh, I called it. I don't even play Minecraft, bro.
It's supposed to look like the helmets we got for the healing video.
But we were so excited and blinded by Minecraft that we didn't notice that it was made for kids, so we didn't use it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. After making an ice cream cake perfect for a 12-year-old boy's birthday party, it was time to cut a slice and decide once and for all if the Betty Crocker bacon fill works.
A delightful new pan that lets you prepare a cake with all kinds of delicious fillings.
Big reveal. How does it look? So as you can see here, it's
Oh,
safe to say the Betty
melted
Crocker
as
bacon fill
fuck.
was a success.
Looks like it's throwing up.
I mean,
It honestly looks just like the cakes in the commercial. Now I know you might be thinking, there's no way this cake came out perfectly because of the pans. It came out perfect because of our skill. But oh god, another commercial break?
Here's some inside information from Betty Crocker. It's the most exciting thing you can do with the inside of a cake. Introducing the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill, a delightful new pan that lets you prepare a cake with all kinds of delicious fillings. Imagine the look on your child's face when you cut into the cake and there's his favorite flavor of ice cream or her favorite gelatin. And who wouldn't enjoy a cake
yeah,
filled
her
with
favorite
delicious fresh
gelatin.
fruit? The secret is these 3 separate sections. Just pour your favorite Betty Crocker cake mix into the main bacon fill pan and lock on this special inner chamber. Now pour more cake mix into this base pan and put them both in to bake. When they're done, remove the insert, add your filling to the center cavity, and cover it with a base. In no time, you'll have the greatest cake you ever made.
Making an exciting cake with my Betty Crocker bacon fill is so easy. And everything's non-stick, so there's no messy cleanup.
These are the kind of desserts you'll find in the finest restaurants. Ice cream cakes, Italian-filled torts, even baked Alaska. Or you can simply fill your cake with a different Betty Crocker cake mix. Just fill the inner chamber instead of the base. Now make all your cakes extra special. Make them Betty Crocker bacon fill cakes. You'll get the bacon fill pan, the inner chamber, and the base pan, complete with instructions and Betty Crocker recipes. All for only $19.95. Guaranteed to delight
or
you for your money
$50.
back.
Thank you guys for watching our cooking video on the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill.
Thank you for watching our video on the Betty Crocker bacon fill.
My
This was
anxiety
worth,
is chronic, but this ass is iconic.
Like $75.
Yep.
I should get that shirt.
Please subscribe.
Please.
And go watch Chris's video
Oh yeah.
with me also in it, where we are healing.
It's so good. Especially when we do that one thing.
I love when we do that one thing.
When that happened, I was like, I can't wait to talk about this later.
Right. And that happened already.
Here we are.
Right, this is after.
Yes, before right now.
Right. Before right now. Thank you, bye. I have skate stuff. You good? Oh my god,
right.
this hurts my arm.
Oh, I'm so bad. Oh, ow.
Terrible. You're doing so well.
Okay. So, that's that. And we've got a few minutes left, I think, on the stream. Let's check. Yeah, so the timer says we have 20 minutes left. Using a fuzz pedal, man. If you're hanging out, let us know. Do you want to watch another video? Should we work on some songs? What do you want to see? Let us know in the chat. We're gonna choose a video right now, and 'cause if we watch YouTube videos, we do not get copyright striked as long as we comment on them, but or copyright notice. But yeah, if we watch, we try and learn songs, immediate copyright strikes, immediate takedown, can't do it, copyright infringement, go directly to jail. Oh man, some Valkyrie and Kaya. So let's see here. Pixel tablet. Elements colossal failure. How? Oh damn. No sign of missing tourist boat. Yeah, that's cool. I was hired to film Fire Festival and he only got 500 or 50,000 views. That sounds like you should. Oh, dude, people are trying to cash in on this. The Titan tragedy. Oh man. Critters review. Let's see. Bye Felicia, the movie Muji. Okay. So there is. What we're actually going to do is we're going to do some guitar backing tracks. So we'll do, let's go to the channel. Royalty free guitar jam. Emotional rock ballad, 4 minutes. Soulful groove guitar, filthy classic rock in A minor. That sounds good. We'll do that one. Acoustic backing track. G, D, E minor, C. It's cool. Alright. And then, what else do we have? C, E minor, A minor, F. Okay. So we have a few like jam tracks loaded up, and then we'll sort of go from there. I'm going to switch over the battery on this camera. Yeah. And then we will be right back. So we're just going to go do that. And we'll be right back afterwards. Oh, man. Okay. Apologies. We're trying to make sure we have this loaded up. All right. We're not even going to cut the stream. We're just going to go and switch the battery. So you'll see this camera dip and come right back up, and then we'll be back. All right. So we got some jams loaded up. We're going to play along. You can grab a guitar or something else and play along as well. Having fun. It's a good time. And we're going to start with guitar every day. Yeah. G, D, E minor, C. That's the progression. Okay, I'm gonna bore with that. Let's do the filthy classic rock guitar backing track. Jam in A minor. is a wrap for the evening. We are done with the guitar for the evening. We thank you for joining us. Please subscribe on Twitch, on YouTube, all those things. Hit the bells, hit the notifications so you can be notified when we go live. We will see you bright and early in the morning for another daily hangout. Thanks for joining us. We love you. Goodbye.